back, everyone. I'm Karen Fetalvero, a volunteer of YMCA of Makati, a local YMCA in the Philippines, and a member of the World Alliance of YMCA's Executive Committee. We hope you've got to discover a bit more about the groundbreaking Youth Led Solutions initiative and how the largest youth organization on the planet is deepening its commitment to address global issues such as employment, entrepreneurship, and the systems attached to them. So far, everything that you have seen, heard, and taken part in over the last 3 days is about preparing you to design new and develop and scale up existing solutions to make a more just and sustainable world of work for young people. The Youth Led Solutions Initiative will put resources directly into the hands of young leaders. This summit is just the beginning of that process. Tomorrow, the real work begins. You have the power to change your communities, your country, and your world. Make sure also to tell us what you are enjoying about the summit here in the chat and on all the social media platforms. Take a photo of your favorite part of the event and post it on Twitter and Instagram. And of course, don't forget to use the hashtag YMCA Youth Led Solutions. Now that you've heard a lot about the Youth Led Solutions initiative, let us take a quick look at what it is really all about and how it works.
Our world faces many problems, and young people have many of the answers. But not alone. YMCA deeply believes in supporting the well-being of all people and creating an equitable, sustainable planet and communities for everyone on Earth. We do this by amplifying youth solutions that are addressing some of the world's biggest issues. For decades, YMCA has been deeply embedded in communities in every corner of the world. Now we need to support and equip young leaders to be multipliers of change. We are creating an international network and conversation to create solutions. We do this with the Youth-Led Solutions Initiative. Young leaders come together to form solution teams, using design-based thinking to address the problems of the planet. Using the Sustainable Development Goals as a framework, the issues we tackle will change with each summit. Entering teams are then connected to resources, like workshops and leadership coaches. Their ideas questioned and tested by experts to develop solutions that innovate and are practical for the people they aim to help. With partners, NGOs, academia and businesses, teams are able to bid for seed funding to get their ideas off the ground. While they are implementing local solutions, collectively, their impact is global. Finally, change happens. The answers are here.
That just sets some of the backdrop as to what happens next. In just a short while, it will be over to you. Now, last October, we launched the Youth Led Solutions Initiative with our first summit on climate action. Back then, the person in this seat as presenter was the brilliant Kekashan Basu. Kekashan won the 2016 International Children's Peace Prize, and now 20 years old, she is an iconic youth leader, global influencer, environmentalist, champion of women and children's rights, TEDx speaker, climate reality mentor, author, musician, as well as a peace and sustainability campaigner. She truly is wearing a lot of hats. But apart from all of that, she is also the founder and president of the global social innovation enterprise called the Green Hope Foundation. The foundation works at the grassroots level in 25 countries, empowering young people, especially those from the vulnerable communities, in the sustainable development process. Please welcome back to YMCA, now as a keynote speaker, Kekashan Basu.
Thank you, Karen, and hello, everyone. Good morning from sunny Toronto. Now, as the world comes out of the pandemic pause, building back better has now become a buzzword. But, I find it to be quite out of place, especially given the communities and regions that I work in, places in rural communities in least developed countries where any form of social care or basic infrastructure never existed. So, how can you build back to something that didn't even exist? And why would you want to put these hapless souls back in their misery from which they struggle each day to come out of? To me, this building back better jargon appears once again as a discourse that focuses only on the well-being of confining the development discussions within the narrow domain of developed economies. And this too is important, but let us not generalize and paint the rest of the world with the same brush, because otherwise we would never be able to progress or continue with or elevate these sections of civil society on whom, unfortunately, the COVID-19 virus has such a disproportionately severe impact. Next, please. Now, as young people, especially girls and young women, we've borne the brunt of this impact, facing tremendous abuse, hunger, and exploitation. Now, for the past 15 months since the onset of the pandemic, millions of young people have dropped out of school. And in these rural communities that have no electricity or internet connectivity, these youth now run the risk of becoming a lost generation. Trafficking of children, girls, and women have shown a drastic increase. Child marriages have risen exponentially as families desperate for food sell their daughters just so the rest of them can survive. Now, with the erosion of traditional sources of income, new skill sets and innovative and creative work opportunities must evolve to enable these vulnerable communities to survive. The future of work as is applicable to these regions must therefore be localized to access and ensure that we address the specific needs, wants, and hurdles of these local communities so that we're best able to address their challenges. Now, my social innovation enterprise, Green Hope Foundation, has been working at a grassroots level within these COVID-impacted communities, using education for sustainable development as a transformative tool to provide them with the new skill sets and behaviors, opening up new opportunities of work that has now led to their self-sufficiencies. Both are LDCs, both are vulnerable communities, yet the solutions are different. And that is why localizing is so critical and generalizations will not be effective. For instance, in Bangladesh, we implemented our pilot solution in a village of 94 families who lost their sources of income due to COVID-19 lockdowns. And when we began our work last year, they were facing the prospect of starvation, disease, and exploitation by human traffickers. We mobilized the youth and through them provided skills-based training to the village residents on sustainable agriculture, also providing them with organic seeds. They started composting their domestic waste for creating their own fertilizer. The women and girls were trained in sustainable poultry farming, and through our youth members, we distributed hens, roosters, they built coops, and assisted the women in learning how to rear poultry. And we've just installed routers for ensuring internet connectivity so that the village residents and the farmers are able to better connect with their vendors and customers beyond the village as well. Through this innovative work program that is based on the concept of a local circular economy that is climate and gender smart, we have improved the socioeconomic condition of the village, making them economically independent and socially strong and resilient, thus future-proofing them. And we now aim to set up an app that enables the farmers of the village to easily place orders for seeds and to sell their produce, including rice, vegetables, and poultry. It is a similar socioeconomic setting in rural Liberia, where rural youth, especially girls, in the absence of education and employment, were entrapped in a vicious cycle of drugs and crime. We installed solar grids in a village, lighting up their school, homes, and community center, as well as setting up solar streetlights, thus providing safe spaces for girls and women to attend the evening training classes that we are now providing them. So they receive computer literacy training, providing them with the skills to improve their employment opportunities. And Green Hope Foundation is now scaling up this successful pilot and expanding it into nearby villages and towns with a target of providing employment to 3,000 young women in the next 12 months. Now, our efforts as a youth-led social innovation enterprise demonstrates that innovation, care, and creativity must be the cornerstone for creating green and sustainable jobs, as it enables customization and localization. The pandemic has redefined the workspace, and we now need a new social contract that really envisages a greater human-centered rewiring of the relationships between the individual and society. Digitalization has become incredibly important in the post-COVID era. We therefore need to be cognizant that in our world, digital dividends coexist with digital divides. Progress in social equity will depend largely on how effectively nations and policymakers, private sector, and civil society facilitate creation of new infrastructure and digital skills, especially in their vulnerable, less literate communities. New technologies and digital transformations must not be allowed to come into conflict with human concerns and needs, because that would further exacerbate existing inequalities, further impacting those who are already vulnerable, amongst them youth, women and girls in all our diversity, indigenous communities, and people of color. We do have the opportunity of creating a new normal, and that would require addressing challenges of work, the future of work, and opportunity through a human lens, using the intersection of technology and empathy for greater humanitarian good. Thank you.
And welcome back. Thank you so much to Keka-chan. We really look forward to working more with you and YMCA in the future. Now, our next two guests spoke on Monday about how they attended the Youth-Led Solutions Summit on Climate Action. They came up with a solution having attended that summit, pitched their ideas, and then received seed funding and mentorship to implement change in their communities to address the climate crisis. They are back with us today to talk more about that design process, what they learned from it, and how you can get the most from it after we walk away from today. This is all about taking action. To tell us more about their solutions, they are joining us, so make sure you are ready to take lots of notes. To introduce them, I welcome back Marie-Chris Sadariagra, Program Manager at the World YMCA. Over to you, Marie-Chris.
Hi, everybody. Well, thank you, Mike, for that introduction. And I think what Kekashan and also what the video that we saw earlier is a great introduction for this small Q&A session. I want to welcome Betsabe and Serena back with us today to talk a little bit more about the post-summit, which is the solution design and implementation. So hi, Serena. Hi, Betsabe. Nice to
Hi,
see you back.
nice to see you again.
So we will start with the questions. As we know, we are always running with time. And I want to know what motivates you to form a solution team and design a solution. Betsy, if you want to go first.
Yeah, of course. Well, we were moved by three problems we observed in a small community in Arequipa. One is the lack of adequate drainage systems and basic services for peripheral communities. And the second, the precarious infrastructure affecting privacy and human dignity, but also pollution air and soil around such communities. And the massive accumulation of inorganic waste without social recycling practices, like, for example, Peru uses around 30 kilograms of plastic per citizen and 3 billion plastic bags, nearly 6,000 bags per minute. So we decided to design a solution according to this reality in the Association La Lumpia in Arequipa, with intention of replicating in other places with similar conditions. And Sunak Muru is the name of my team solution. And Sunak Muru seeks to create eco communities that provide environmental, economic, and sanitary welfare. We use polluting plastic waste to build sanitary facilities that also produce affordable energy. These facilities incorporate technology that help green areas around them flourish and produce ecological fuel and byproducts, contributing to the local economy. We recycle waste and turn into the opportunity to create better living conditions with a scalable, adaptable, and replicable solution.
Great. Thank you, Beth. You can also tell us what motivates you to form a solution team and also explain a little bit more about your solution.
Okay, so first of all, there are many recycle boxes for secondhand clothes in Taiwan, but we don't know where the clothes go. So because burning as the garbage cause more air pollution, that's why we came up with the idea of the creating a second life for the secondhand clothes. So we just have a lot of designing for it because we think that the clothes can not only be the trashes, it can be turned into, for example, some bags or some shopping bags. It can just cover with the plastic bags for it. So we just image that maybe this is the good way to turn the pollution for it.
Great. Thank you, Serena. Those of how we can reuse things that we think were garbage at some point. The second question would be, how did the knowledge of the Youth-led Solution Summit on Climate Action enrich the design process of your solution? Betsy.
Well, participating in the summit, Borneo urged to take climate action by showing us the enormous amount of pending efforts and issues regarding climate change. Youth has the power and the responsibility to shape a new reality in which no one is left behind, with climate and social justice, of course. And it's on our hands now, and the summit gave us that message and empowered us to design a solution. Doing nothing is irresponsible.
Great words,
Okay,
Betsy. Thank you. Serena.
so pharma teams on the acts of the young people use the came to introduce the environmental issue and practice that the kids can take a DIY project for it. So we can take it a project back and tell the importance of the environmental issue to their families one by one and turn into lots of person to know it and keep doing with us.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you for that. So we go to the next question. It is, how important was the support of your local or your national YMCA? Betsy.
Thank you, Mary Chris. Definitely, great ideas are not enough to change the world. It takes professional and institutional support to bring those ideas into practice. Having YMCA on our side is fundamental to open the door when approaching relevant stakeholders. Likewise, having access to a grant has been possible through our national YMCA as volunteers. If I can send a message to the local YMCAs, it would be that they support their solution and teams and give them the help they need to transform their ideas into the innovative solution our world needs.
Serena.
So with our teams, supports of course is from our Tainan YMCA of Taiwan. So that us don't need to worry about anything else. Just keep doing. So also make the all of the stuff respond and focus on our solution together, and to make more people willing to participate to our solution. So this is why we can do it from the first of it in the local place and then turn into the whole world.
Thank you, Serena. So as the video explained, post the summit, the young participants will be called to form a solution team, and this is what Serena and Betsy did in their own YMCAs. And we know you are maybe at some point already implementing or starting to implement, but we want to know overall, how was your experience through the process of presenting and implementing a solution? Betsy.
Yeah, it's been an extremely challenging and yet enriching experience. I think I mentioned that the other day, and we are learning a lot about many different things, like teamwork, communication, stakeholders management, and a lot of more things. I realized that professional um, I realized that importance of interdisciplinary and distributed teamwork, since we have diverse professional and cultural geographic backgrounds, help a lot. I've also learned the value of innovation to achieve solution and manage the risk that every project faces. And finally, there's no doubt that grant has been a major first impulse for us. From now on, we are expecting to snowball our solution and adapt it in other places. And in the implementation phase, our solution has benefited from the experience and knowledge and the bonds and connections of the professional team from inclusion and community development area in YMCA Peru, led by Rocio Solis. And they have helped us in many more ways than we could have expected. And we are very, very thankful for that.
That's awesome, Betsy. Thank you for sharing that. Serena, what about you?
So at first, secondhand clothes were considering nothing, but we are guided by stories to inform them the unnecessary pollution caused by the recycling process of secondhand clothes. So, and we make a DIY work even more real. At present, people are beginning to pay attention to secondhand clothes. So before you throw it away, you will think about it that it can give in another life for the clothes. So through the process of importance of the solutions, both volunteers and traders can experience the joy and the recycling clothes. So our solutions start from the December 2020. So, and we keep going right now.
That's amazing, Serena. This is just amazing that the Youth-led Solution Summit has influenced you personally, and for all of you that are watching, we want you to know that from the first summit, we have 35 solutions being implemented around the world on climate, on different climate issues. So this is what we want from you now from this summit. You have learned, you have listened, you have been inspired, and now it's your time to take action on your hand. So we encourage you to form a solution team, to go to your national MCA, and to start working on this, because the power is in our hands, doing things so that we can see the change happening. I want to thank Betsy and Serena for joining us today, and we hope that this small session has been practical for all of you, and that you all after the summit that you are highly engaged and motivated to come up with a solution. Thank you very much and see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mary Chris, Serena, and Betsy. It is so great to hear your experiences. Now, we welcome two very special guests for one incredible announcement. From young leader Daisy Moran and World YMCA President Patricia Pelton. Daisy is a knowledgeable nonprofit professional who has operated to further the YMCA's mission at the local, national, regional, and global level, and she represented YMCA at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women and was the appointed representative of the World YMCA on the World Health Organization and United Nations Foundation Board of Directors project, the Global Youth Mobilization. On the other hand, Patricia was elected World YMCA's first female president in 2018. She is past chair of YMCA Canada and is closely affiliated with YMCA Calgary. She has 25 years of volunteer experience at YMCA at a local, national, and international level. Dear friends, please join me in welcoming Daisy and Patricia. Over to you.
Dear friends, I'm Daisy Moran, proud to be with YMCA of the USA and proud to be one of the 6 youth board representatives of the Global Youth Mobilization. I have been blown away with more than 1,400 young people joining us from 105 countries. Throughout the summit, I have been inspired by the young people's bravery and perseverance in helping our communities despite all odds through our different leadership positions. I most enjoyed engaging with participants during the networking sessions, where participants shared with me how they are planning to use the knowledge received from the summit. We have come together to discover the barriers and issues facing young people in the world of employment and entrepreneurship, and to look at some of the innovative solutions out there to meet those challenges. The Youth-led Solutions Summit on the Future of Work focused on care economy and green economy. Our post-COVID world is disrupted. So in this quest for meaningful and decent jobs, caring for one another and caring for the planet is central to how we respond and overcome so many challenges. The year 2020 forced us to grow individually and collectively as communities. A year we finally accept the need for change, declare the change, work for the change, become the change. The COVID-19 pandemic has inspired us to innovate and become creative about the ways we support each other and the communities around us. It has helped us appreciate the value of communities and taught us an important lesson about being interested in others. We need to enable more young people to engage more profoundly in decision-making in our communities and ensure all communities are connected regardless of where you are in the world. The summit has shown us that the future has never been more uncertain for young people, especially when it comes to education and employment, and particularly for the most marginalized and at risk in our societies. We need to be ready for a new and ever-changing job market, so that therefore we need our governments and employers to invest in the education and skills that will prepare us for the challenges of tomorrow. Young people have adapted through their resilience. Now systems need to adapt quickly to work to address inequalities that are widening because of the pandemic. I believe we have the power to not choose between different realities, no longer asking for a seat at the table, but building our own. So the question becomes to the adults. If we are the leaders of today, will you wait till tomorrow to talk to us? And I don't mean a checkbox of diversity and inclusion, but as equal partners. Finally, and most importantly, you. You are all incredible young leaders and change makers. You made this summit. This is our time. This is your time. So let's mobilize for change for a better world. Patricia, what did you think of the summit?
Thank you so much, Daisy, for those strong and powerful words. And greetings from World YMCA. On the first day of the summit, Trang said that it would go by very fast, and it has. What an unforgettable 3 days. I've been delighted to participate and to listen to not only the excellent array of accomplished speakers, Daisy, but also to the wise and insightful comments in the breakout sessions and workshops, as well as in the chat line. So much of the advice and shared wisdom was practical in nature, including the types of skills and competencies that will be needed now and in the future. And in speaker after speaker, reminding us that entry-level education is just that. And now, more than any time in history, lifelong learning is a must. And we must never forget that while hard skills are important for a specific job, soft skills are important for all jobs. I think Howard reminded us of that, and must not be underestimated in importance. Each one of you now has the opportunity to reflect and apply might work for you in your circumstances. And thank you to all of our incredible speakers, panelists, and workshop and breakouts and leaders. You were tremendous, and I have no doubt have influenced and changed the lives and paths of participants going forward. A big shout out to Mike Bromfield and the amazing Youth-Led Solutions Initiative Global Planning Committee. You worked tirelessly, ensuring that our experience was top-notch. Thank you. To Carlos and your staff, thank you. These online events take an enormous amount of support. Your work is very much appreciated. A particular thrill for me has been to see YMCA acknowledged for creating the space for this debate and to see it developing its relationships and partnerships with the world's biggest players, both public, private, and third sector in the field of youth employment. ILO and the Decent Jobs team, UNICEF and Generation Unlimited, WHO, UNCTAD, UNICEF, MIT Solve, Salesforce, Accenture, HP Life, Sawarsky Foundation, Aspen Institute, Junior Achievement Europe, International Youth Foundation, Circulate Capital, African Ecological Futures, University of San Francisco, even Universal Music 1824 are some of the great names with whom we have worked this week. And our big partners, the Red Cross, Red Crescent, the Scouts, the Girl Guides, the International World Award, the YWCA are the people we're really proud to work with in this big year of the so-called global youth mobilization. And to you, the participants, thank you for registering, for the strong engagement, the feedback, and the appreciation that you've shared online. The YMCA is here for you. But my task is to look forward now, not back, because this is only the beginning. This is the moment where the term youth-led solutions, solutions proposed by young people for young people, really kicks in. By the 10th of July, we expect to receive your project proposals for things that you want to do to meet employment challenges for young people in your community. By the beginning of August, we will revert to you and you'll be asked to present your solutions by the end of August. We will then take 5 weeks to evaluate those proposals and select those we will fund, announcing them at the beginning of September. And by the end of August 2022, the projects are expected to be finished. And in fact, they'll be presented at the World YMCA Council in Aarhus, Denmark in July of 22. We will showcase them then alongside all the youth-led solutions projects which we've developed and will develop. We have very good precedent in the 35 climate action projects we chose to fund. You've just heard from a couple of them. From 20 countries after last October's Youth-Led Solutions Summit, which was the first in the series. I've been thrilled to read about progress in those ongoing projects. I'm also pleased to announce today that we know we have in the region of 150,000 USD in seed funding money available, which will fund about 30 projects. It comes from YUSA and Salesforce, and we're so grateful to both. And our own YMCA area alliances are on standby to support projects in the regions. I want to express my deepest appreciation to them for believing in us and believing in young people. Let me also say that YMCA promises to mentor the solution teams during the solutions design phase. Our partners and local and national YMCAs will be there as role models, coaches, acquaintances, and guiding lights. And we will also give you access to design thinking toolkits facilitated by our partners, Hello Creativity and Innovation Camp, which will be catalysts and will enable solution teams to design human-centered solutions. Our regional YMCA area alliances and countries will coordinate all of this, and you will hear the details from them. So we go forward with real hope and real purpose. All strength to the YMCA and all strength to young people the world over. Let's be proactive, let's be optimistic, let's see the opportunity in a world in transformation. I echo what we heard from Nathan Kandaner on Monday. Let's create the future of work. Let's propose the solutions. The future of work is in our hands. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia and Daisy. Indeed, it is about time that we, the young people, becomes equal partners of our future. And of course, we would like to thank all the people behind this event for not only giving us the space to discuss and to learn, but also for providing us the tools necessary to advance our solutions. And let us just take a moment to reflect that there is $150,000 of investment being made available for youth solutions around the world for the future of work and decent jobs. Your solutions, your ideas. Keep an eye out after the summit in the coming days and weeks for more information about the solution team, and more information is available on the website at youthsolutions.ymca.in. Now we are nearing the close for today's event, but there's still a lot of couple of things that we have you and we invite you to take part in. Immediately after we finish this plenary stage, head out to the breakout session area where Felicia Masaki and Mary Chris Aldariaga will be hosting the post-show wrap-up to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback. We would love to hear those thoughts. And also, if you missed something, everything that's taken place at the summit will be made available on World YMCA's YouTube channel in about 7 to 10 days' time. You also have about 3 hours to spend in the resource library, so watch one of the many on-demand workshops that have been specially curated for the summit. This is also your last chance to meet delegates from around the world using the networking tool. So make friends and be friends with one another. Don't forget that to continuously engage in conversations, tag World YMCA and use the hashtag YMCA Youth Led Solutions in your photos and thoughts throughout this summit. Now, it is really over to you. Let's start when you wake up tomorrow to be the change and to take action. To identify the issues around employment, entrepreneurship, and systems where you are. We all have different contexts, and it is in our hands to do something about it. Let me just share this quotation from the Philippine national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. He said, "Youth is the hope of the nation." So I hope that we young people become the hope of our nation and our world, because this is what the Youth Led Solutions Initiative is all about. Again, my name is Karen Petalvero, and it has been my absolute pleasure to host you. Thank you very much.